Hey, what's up? This is Victor, aka Victorious, and I'm here to give my testimony when I became a believer. When I became a follower of Christ, a Christian. If I can go back to when I was growing up, I was raised up in a religious home, military home. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and he's also a deacon of the Catholic Church. Growing up was very strict, but I was always pretty much a good kid until 12, 13 years old. I became a knucklehead. And at that age, a lot happened in my life. 13, I was shot at and almost died. Bullets missed me a couple inches. I should have been dead pretty much. I think in all my life till then, I should have been dead. Where I was standing, the bullets were, and then even bullet holes a couple inches away from me. That same year, my best friend, rest in peace, Chuy, he got blasted, murdered from the rival gang. His whole family, he grew up in it, generation and generation of the gang, and he was going to be in the gang, but he wasn't even jumped in yet, and he got murdered that same year. I had a best friend doing lines of cocaine while we were playing Sega Genesis, just, lighting them up and doing it. They caught him. He got sent away the same year. So a lot happened at that age that just kind of scared me straight. I would say, scared me to try to live right, be a good kid. I was always playing soccer before that. Through since I can remember, I played soccer, and that kept me out of the streets and out of trouble. And I really liked soccer, so it motivated me. After all that, at age 13, motivated me to try hard to be on the high school soccer team when I went into high school. So I tried every day from that point on, practice until I got into high school, and I made it to the high school team. And that was really a big step, showing that if I work hard at anything, I can do it. I made it to high school. High school years were cool. I was still being a good kid. And then there was partying, but I never did drugs because we weren't in the party crews. We'd go to the parties. We were the breakdancers, the b-boys, and we would drink. That wasn't right either. We were underage, but we'd drink, and that was wrong, right? And we'd be playing soccer until I started getting bad grades, got kicked out of my soccer team, and that really hurt me. I started getting bad grades, wasn't supposed to graduate from high school. They wanted to kick me out, send me to continuation. I was going to go, and I told my dad, no, whatever it takes, I'll do it. So they gave me a chance. I had all kinds of periods. I was there 0 period to 7 period in ROP classes. And I graduated. I wasn't supposed to. I don't know how they gave me the credits, but I luckily graduated. And then threw out to the real world. And I thought, what? If I stayed in school, I'll go to community college and try it. And I already knew I was going to do nothing out of it. I was just going to go party, have a good time. So I did. Next thing you know, smoking weed and getting high and just wrapped up in all this stuff. I got a good job at the time, so I didn't want to go to school anymore. And I just started smoking weed like every day. Next thing you know, my whole life got switched, and I'm a straight pothead. Smoking weed every day. Like, I'm talking about when I wake up to go to sleep. There wasn't a moment I was sober in my daily life, And my dad, he was a smart man. He found he had to come home drunk and high, and he was very patient with me. But at that time, I'm thinking he wasn't. He said, basically, what I would tell my kids now is, you live under my rules, or you don't live in my house at all. And I took it like he was kicking me out of the house. And you know what? I took off. I took it the wrong way, and I took off living with my friends and here and there. And my sister offered me to move in, rent a room in her house and move in with her. So I did. And she knew I smoked weed. She said, you know what? Don't do that around my family. So I'd still get high every day, but not around the house. And doing my thing and just messing up my mind, just living in a whole different world, So then one day I up and took off. My dad had a stroke. I found out my dad had a stroke and he was going to die. And I'm trip out because my dad was always strong, never showed emotion, he was just, never weak. never. And I saw him in his bed, half paralyzed, thinking he was going to die. I stopped smoking weed for a couple of days, and I think I was just hitting depression because I wasn't high anymore, and I couldn't take it. It was just overwhelming, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I just it was too much for me. And I started questioning life. I started questioning God. And you know what? Are you even real? You know, how can you? My dad is so religious. He's in the church all the time. He's in the church more than he is at home with us. You know, how can you do that to him? You know, it didn't make no sense to me. I couldn't connect the dots. I'm like, well, what's going on? I was just confused, and it just messed me up. You know, and I'm like, don't know what's going on. And I started questioning a lot of things, and didn't want to live anymore, pretty much. So I wanted to commit suicide. And next thing you know, I found myself in a hotel room by myself, wanting to kill myself. And I'm like, I don't even what is this worth? It's not even worth anything, this whole life. What is this, you know? And I'm talking to myself at the time and talking to God, but thinking he doesn't exist. And I'm like, you know what? If you really exist, I'm going to throw myself out there. I decided not to kill myself. I committed suicide. And I said, if this is real, if you're real, and you have destiny or something planned for me in my life, then I'm just gonna throw myself out like a leaf in the wind. I'm just gonna go and see what you have for me. See if you're real. See what's up. And so I just crashed out that night in the hotel room. Woke up, ran away, and just took off. Ended up in Hollywood, out in the streets of Hollywood. Met some kids out there, some street kids, you know, homeless all their lives, and made a lot of friends out there in the streets. Saw, you know, the squatters who used to break into buildings. And, I mean, just a lot of stuff, you know, and a lot of stuff out there in the street. You know, still getting high every single day, getting drunk. You know, it was just, I was living in a whole different world. Like, I wasn't even really here. It was just like, didn't exist, you know. And during those times out in the streets of Hollywood, I ended up taking a ride with somebody up to North Hollywood, to Oakland. And he was from out there. He was from Oakland. And we were going to go out there, and he was going to pick up some weed, and we were going to come back down. So we go up to Oakland, and while we're up there, we had to do some things that, you know, I mean, they wanted to rob some people, and I was riding with them, and I'm going to ride, you know, so we're going to do it. I mean, it's just something you think you have to do because you can't show you're weak, you're a punk, you know, you can't, you just got to do it. So, you know, make a long story short, I did it. We got caught up. The cops came and got us. And, you know, then pretty much the next couple of days, and we got caught up. You know, they wanted to get us for armed robbery, and I was in jail in Alameda County up in Oakland for about 6 months. Now, in those 6 months, the first couple of months, all you have in there is to read, time is read, and work out. That's about it. And so I just started reading, working out, reading, and I would read weird different stuff, and I would try to get into my spiritual side. And I've already heard about the Bible, and I listened to my dad and his Bible studies. And so I didn't look there. I was looking everywhere else. I read, you know, different spiritual, you know, books, religions, and this and that. So until one day I picked up a little pamphlet, and it was a story of Saul of Tarsus, and he was on the road to Damascus. And it's about this guy that killed Christians. He hated them. He would kill them, and it was his whole story and how God came to his life and changed him. And next thing you know, God was using him. And I read his story, and I'm like, wow, you know, like maybe I heard this story before, but never like reading it myself. And I read it, and then at the very end, there's a little prayer, a sinner's prayer you can read, and to ask Jesus into your life. So I just read it. I said, I mean, it can't hurt. You know, I know Jesus. I mean, I grew up, I know about him, and so I just prayed it. Next thing you know, I just felt I needed to read. You know, if I really wanted Jesus, I needed to read about him. So I started reading the Bible, jail, and all that. And next thing you know, I'm getting Sallies that are interested, and they see me reading, and they want to know about it. So we talk about it and stuff. So, you know, I felt this peace, And I trip out because I was locked up, but I felt free at that time, and I accepted Jesus.